AI recognition, sound recognition, visual recognition. All of this is belonging to under Khan's domain. So he's going to take care of this. But for the tech, he will also looking for some kind of like technical leader who will setting up the workflow for this particular department, right? So now for this specifically, this uh, this area where we are at right now, I need your help, Mehmet, to create entire workflows, like go deeper, like who should wearing what hats, right? Who should doing what, with with current resources that we have at the moment. We have you, we have me, you, me, Tat, and Ben, right? So four of us, we need to how to collaborate, and what roles we need to hire, and what is the job description that we need to have, right? So this is fall under your lead now, right? So I think this is the very first start we need to align on, so that we can move on, and work collaboratively together, so that we don't overstep on each other's. Right now, I feel like I go much go into detail, like doing quite a lot of work, like in the UX researcher, and doing some kind of like product management stuff like that. But I don't have the the roadmap, the action plan, clear action plan from you. So that's why it's kind of difficult for me to navigate through the entire workflow. So it's better if you can help create your own workflow here for the product department or design team workflow. Then when we can coordinate work together. Agree on that?
Yes.
All right. All right. So I will leave that to you, actually. Okay. So in terms of, yeah, that's it. So now in terms of Jira tickets, I just want to call out that we you know what we are, how we use this Jira board, and how we use the label, why we use the label ASAP here, why we use label like tech demo, essential, all of these. Are you guys familiar with it? Any questions so far? Guys, Ben and Mehmet.
No, no, I don't have any question for this board. I understand it.
All right. Totally right. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Mehmet, you have any concerns, anything like that? Just raise.
No, not at this time. It's pretty clear.
Pretty clear, right? All right.
Can you try to filter by acai? Well,
Say it again.
click on the avatar icon.
Yeah.
No, on the top, under the boss name, under the ball name.
Under here.
Yeah, yeah, click on it. Got it.
Okay.
Do you guys know it?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
exciting.
This is convenient, but yeah, it's hard to know. Yeah, you have to
That's true.
know that they have a feature like this.
Okay, you can know. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the current Jira boards that we have, but do look at the backlogs here as well, right? There's a backlog right here. When you access that, you will see a bunch of things that we put in the backlogs right there, right? So if you look at this, we have something like start thinking of gamification, build a competitor analysis showing pro and cons for feature and UX, stuff like this. We are still not putting into the board yet. And So the goal is right. We try to clear a much Jira tickets as possible, right? And we based on the priority, right? So that's with that being said, I think we need to have a call, like maybe like a spring planning call or something that we can start prioritizing the tasks, and then at some point we need to commit time to complete these tickets, right? So for example, right now in the in progress we have 7 tickets, right? And some tickets will take longer. For example, the ticket with the teacher app prototype. But even this is the wrong one, because this is what I was thinking that we need to move forward. But this is something, I guess Mehmet need to lead this process, not me. All right? Do you agree on this? Oh,
What is it?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Can you hear me?
why
Yeah,
reporter is me?
yeah, you're the reporter. You
Really?
was a report. Yeah,
Let
you was a
let
reporter.
can I see the history of the issue? Uh, next by the comment section. Yep. Oh, really? I
Yeah,
create this.
yeah. No,
I
actually, you created that because we talk about
oh you
using profile.
yeah you change the title.
Yeah, yeah,
Haha, no way. Okay. I got it.
yeah.
So all I I can see here Mehmet will lead all UX design and UI design
Mm-hmm.
process here.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys will run of the first sprint
Spring, yeah.
spring in how long next week?
Yeah, how do you want to play in the spring, Mehmet?
Yeah, so I think the first sprint should um, be a shorter sprint because we already have something to test. We can plan the first sprint to devise a plan, recruit the participants for the usability test, test out, do the usability test, and then gather new ideas and features to go into sprint two, which sprint two then could be to refine the version one,
Mm-hmm.
and then to test that. Though I am also curious to look into that
Yeah.
other apps are already doing. We need to identify the flows that are outside the main flow that Prova is showing to start going into validation testing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could be combined. Some of the discovery of the flows can be combined into sprint one, and from there we need to establish what those sprints would look like and what we'll be putting into those for each sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would be good to have like a plan of um, how many sprints we're going to have in the first quarter, and uh, how much functionality are we going to design in the first quarter. Of course, it's also dependent on whether or not we're looking to do a soft launch. We're
Mhm.
looking to fully flesh out the idea through iteration, through constant iteration. Uh, so a lot really depends on the strategy, but I think for this first sprint, it would be great to get some validation ideas to refine what we already have, validate some of the functionality, and also uh, to establish some flows that are outside the ones we're testing, so that we can start doing the research necessary to identify the best practices on how we can achieve some of the other flows as well. Because once we have our learnings from the usability test for Prova, uh, it is not fully necessary to go straight into design and iteration of fixing the flow for sprint one. We can take the learnings and throw it in a backlog, and then focus on the other important flows in the meantime. And then once we have the enough research and feedback and ideas from the backlog, we can also go into then design and then make the updates and then do another round of testing. It really depends on how we structure that kind of like workflow, um, and uh, like for example, we don't have um, the piano playing part or the note recognition part, the, getting how you get rewarded, and there's a lot of open flows that we haven't discussed. So as long as we identify like what are the main flows with this app, who else, how are others approaching these flows? Um, what does the user flow look like for these flows? What does the story look like for this flow? And from there, if we can identify each one on an individual level, I think then we have a good test basis for testing and research and a whole lot of activities throughout the week to be able to identify and find best practices. Uh, so
Okay. Yep. Actionable
Uh,
items.
so I
Yeah.
yeah I'm thinking about yeah you guys keep talking about testing. I yeah I think it's we don't need to test on the
hello,
probably version one. Is that correct?
uh, Khan, can you say that again? You were breaking up.
Yeah, I think you guys will stop testing on
I can't hear you for
Proba.
some reason.
Yeah? Oh, really? Can you hear me, Kwan?
It's for some reason it is cutting out when you talk.
Oh,
Yeah. We cannot hear you.
oh,
For some
really?
reason we cannot. Yeah.
So
It's better now. Yeah. You can speak now. Yeah.
how about now?
Cannot hear.
Oh,
Yeah, so weird. I don't know why, but it's cutting out.
Try again.
I can chat. Yeah, you can you can read the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you say something?
Mm-hmm.
Khanh, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. So the and then we start a new design flow designed by Mehmet. Is that correct? Right?
If we can start, you said?
Can we start a new design flow from Mehmet?
Ah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Um, a new flow. What do you mean by that? Like a different
Yeah,
way? Different? Is it a different way?
I mean design
Or
process.
when you say design process, like you
Yeah.
mean to craft like how the product design will work, like the structure of the process within the team, or
Oh.
No, I think what right, Khanh? You mean the new product design, the new story design or something?
What? I I'm talking about process. Process. You have to decide who will invite to what will they do,
Yeah.
what is the input and what is the needed output. So yeah, some kind of that.
Yeah, I see.
can you say that again? Sorry, for some reason it's cutting out on my end.
Yeah. So
Uh, let me try reconnecting. I don't know what's going on. It's just getting the conversation is just getting cut off for me. Uh, no, I can hear you, and then it gets cut off right as you're telling me like import.
ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Try again.
Okay.
Okay. Nó đi đâu mất tiêu rồi? À, nó bị drop. Chắc mạng.
Ủa không nghe rõ à?
Khi anh nói thì nó bị mất tiếng à.
Ngắt quãng lắm.
Ô thế à? Thế mạng mạng đuối rồi đấy. Hoặc là Sky này vớ vẩn.
Không, nó như kiểu như tín hiệu nó bị ngắt anh ạ.
À thế à?
Mà
Thế
nó bị mất từ ở giữa.
ờ, do Sky
Kiểu anh,
này.
kiểu anh
Bây giờ bọn em cũng đang mất rồi mà.
đó.
Quang thì nghe rõ.
Ờ.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hello. Alright, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you much better.
All right. So what country really want to know is like, what's it the design process? So then, what's it the input from what team, right? And
Okay,
then
same thing. Okay, wait a
what?
second. Okay,
No.
I turned off all the videos to hopefully this helps.
Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
say
you
it one
well.
more time, please?
All right.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
You can or you cannot?
I
Can
I can
can
I can.
You
yeah.
can.
Can you turn off the video sharing? Quang? Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
You good? We good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys, right now.
much better.
Quan, can you say it again?
The other teams. So that is so basically just come out to the what's it the working plan, what's it the action plan, what is the action enable items for us. And then he was asking whether we stop we stop testing the profile one, or whether we design the new spring and new product backlogs or anything like that. So how do you want to take it further?
Yeah, I think it's important that we have a new, obviously a new workflow. I am not sure of the newcomers exactly where they fit into the team and into how they fit into the structure.
Hmm?
Are
I
you
think
talking about hack?
Why I'm not hearing anything?
Me too.
the the,
I didn't hear
the
anything.
Zoom đi em, zoom đi, zoom đi.
Okay, let's move to some. Terrible. Okay, guys.
um, that we need to know what the active roles now are for the newcomers, and how to then structure the team. It would be helpful to then start filling in names
Mm-hmm.
for these roles here,
Mm-hmm.
and based on that, to devise a structured plan into understanding how the task is created, who works on the material,
Yeah.
and then who is that passed on to
Yep.
go into the next part of the process, while the other person is able to then start on the next part.
Right.
So like while one handoff is happening, then the person who handed off is then able to start on the next section,
Yep.
and everyone's working at the same time.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep. And then so the first thing first, right? So this is not so do you want to update this workflow here for the design department? Is this good
Uh,
or not? Uh,
um, yeah, I mean, it can be updated. Just like I see the researcher should be communicating with the manager, not as much the designer.
yeah. So please just go ahead, create the your workflow structure for the team,
Okay,
and then we can and then maybe give out some like detail like a job description or details what need to be done, like what's the job description for each role here, right? Your expectation for that, and then we can start filling the head counts into the chart.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
I think that's the first thing we need to do.
Um, Other than that, I want to obviously make some progress. So I think I think for us right now, understanding what are the main flows, just writing out what the main flows are, and to start taking a look at how these flows get tackled by the leading competitors is going to be a good area of research. And I think this is an activity that we can really get some varied input and collect examples. So
Oh,
I wonder if this is something we can all kind of think about,
to,
uh, and then start presenting to each other. Um, does it? So when I say the flow, it's not necessarily just a user flow, right? This is and
can you please can you
like
please
Yep, yep,
open
yep.
my link and ask Mehmet if it's his flow he's talking about. Sorry, Mehmet. I
yeah. So
really don't
this
understand
one,
what is the use flow
yeah,
you are talking about.
Is that the
So
one?
this user flow.
Is that it? Is that it?
Okay, so no, it's not.
Sorry, sorry.
No problem, no problem. So this flow is actually a pretty. They say this person says this is a simple flow. It's not, because it's a site. It's like a site map, almost like a site map inside a flow. There's too many options.
Yeah.
This flow has too many options. It's not showing a direct path.
Oh, so yeah, yeah, yeah. So it is
So the,
kind of use flow, but we need a very simple one.
yeah, we need
Yeah, yeah,
much more simple flows.
yeah,
This is showing too many options.
yeah, yeah. I got it. Got
Um,
it. Got it.
yeah, so it's going to be like first screen, like landing screen, second screen, teacher dashboard, third screen, uh, assign a task. You know,
Yeah.
just the steps, the screens, the views that are required to complete a certain task. Even not even this one, EA Quag, because this one is also taking things a bit further into. It's more simple. It's more straightforward. Um, but I just want to see, like, let's say booking a cab on Uber, right? The flow of booking a cab. Um, let's take a look. If you open your phone, you have the landing screen, okay, and then you have another screen that opens when you type in a location. So you have landing, and then you type in the location where you want to go. You have another screen to find a driver. That's the when you're looking for a driver, and then you go back to the landing screen,
Oh, got it. Got it.
and then it shows you finding a driver, and now you see the same landing screen with updated view of the driver coming, which tells you. So this is part of the flow, right? You ordered a cab, but that's the basic flow, right? It took us like 4 steps, and the only the information was different on the landing screen, and it didn't require any extra screens to to find a cab, right? So this is a very high level basic understanding of how to order a cab
Yeah,
using
yeah,
an app.
yeah.
So this is just one flow, right? Ordering, like finding a cab. Um, so this is what I mean. Like, how many flows do we can we find that we need to create? Like booking like a teacher assigning a lesson, right? That's a flow. Student practicing and
Yeah,
sending music back is a flow.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
flow, yeah. Um, and then these can be tied into to larger goals, like you see in Prova. But
So this is
the
so this
main
kind
thing,
of awesome
yeah,
flow, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. However, it needs to we need to make sure that these are tied to specific goals that the specific goals that both the teacher and the student is going to have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so what I'm saying is let's identify those flows, but on a higher level, on a goal based level, so that we're not getting granular into these goals as
Mm-hmm.
flows. Rather, we're getting into the to the. I mean, we should be getting into the flows as goals that the user wants to achieve. So that's why we were talking about yesterday, like organizing students into folders. It's not a goal. Therefore, it's not a flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that make sense? But be able to track students' progress is a
Great,
goal,
great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, uh, yeah, yeah.
and that must be into a flow.
It's great. Moment, it's great. Yeah, I think next step, your design team will need to pick some. Do you want Quang or Tag or Bing or me to help you to do this job in next few weeks?
Yeah, I think if we can collectively start identifying what are the main flows that we need in our app, and who is what are the examples, this will be helpful. What I've done in the past is just collect screenshots of other like websites or apps, and just say this is screen 1, this is screen 2, this is screen 3, and so on, and then start looking at it side by side to identify, what looks different from this app to another. How do they approach the same flow differently? What do they add? What do they don't have? What do they have? This is going to give us a foundation to see what are the things that work best and what are the things that are lacking that we can add. Um, we will get an idea of how many steps per flow we need, and it will also give us great insight into the styling and the design as well. Does that make sense?
There's a couple of questions from Khanh in the chat box. You want to read it? Can you see his message?
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So we are moving a little fast in the sense that the phase 1 and 2. So the flow. So because this was a 4-week, for me it was a 4-week, very fast-paced, rapid prototyping challenge. I moved very quickly. The thing is, for each part of the design process, we can follow a very agile way of working in sprints that involves. So we have some research, and we already have some interviews. If we want to start from phase 1, from research, we can start looking at this. We can start looking at this in the same way that we are. I'm proposing now. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are in phase 3, because we are not. We don't have, especially if we are not testing version 1 of Prova. Then we are only doing research already in these, identifying these flows. So we have market research, competitive analysis we can do through these flows. We can have different sorts of competitive analysis, but we can, with the help of flows, we can see more clearly what the competitive examples are doing. We can use the same method that we can start today throughout each sprint, which is basically like to identify the future set, the flow set, and then to provide these examples, which in turn becomes the competitive analysis and becomes the research, becomes the first phase. when we do our own flow, when we make our own flow, when we now we already have, when it comes to personas, we already have provisional personas. The actual personas need to be still created based on our learnings from interviews. But the flow, until we have our own flow, we are not in ideation. We're still in research. So that's why I'm saying, if we can identify the main flows and then look at what how the competitors have done their flows, that will mark the end of our research for the first sprint. Does that make sense? And then from there we can start building out our own, and then test it. Now, I was saying that since we have a prototype already, we can test the version 1 and the flow that we have in version 1. But if you want to start with a redesign and start with just testing out a more simple flow, we can do that. But then that will have to come after if we do that, that will have to come after we do the research and the mapping out of the flows and the understanding the competitors and all that. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, well,
Mehmet,
yeah.
yeah, you saw that. Can you see the message in the chat box?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think in terms of the structuring of the phase 1, I mean Q1, if we have a good understanding of what our milestone is to have a successful Q1, we can then plan each sprint accordingly, so that by the end of all the sprints, we have gotten to a place to be able to cover the needs of the quarter. So it really depends on how much we're trying to achieve in the next few months, and then how we're going to plan out each week in order to advance to reach these goals. Okay, let me see. Can we have tasks for them to do? Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. So like I said, I think identifying the main flow, what the main flows are, finding, and then seeing the current state of how the apps are establishing these flows is the good first step. Let's see here. From the business side, having a good sense of market validation is I believe should be in the works at all times. But also, as far as if we're going into in order to ideate and get a good trend going on what we got, also it's going to be helpful to get some comparative examples in terms of the UI and understanding some of the best references from around the world, so that we can also get a pattern library and an inspirational course to think about the UI. And then from the research side, the more involvement we have with finding teachers and being able to have access to students, and also and an audience who already is practicing music or wants to learn music, I think these are valuable. It will be valuable for us to have a list for a network that we can tap into.
Yeah, so I think, right. So how about let let's think through about that today, Mehmet, and then you can create report some Jira tickets, right? You can create Jira tickets, and then we can put into the backlog, and then maybe in the next spring, like Khan mentioned here, we can create a spring and then assign, or not assign, but more like bring these Jira tickets up and then see who will be uh, you know experienced in that, doing that ticket. How does that
Mhm.
sound?
Yeah, that
because
sounds good.
because right now what you mentioned, right, I see a lot of valid points that we need to carry, like a lot of action item as well, but then we don't know, right? It's maybe it's in your head, it can easily read it out by you, but for us, I got stuck, right?
Hmm.
We got stuck here, we don't know what's the next step. And in the past couple of weeks, I try to get into your shoes, create multiple tickets, right, and then try to work them out, but then it doesn't work that way though, because I feel like I got into the bottleneck, because like I cannot collectively get the team efforts to put into that. And basically it's not really my role as well. I wouldn't have an overview of the what you need, right? So I think the best thing now is like you finalize your workflow, like what are the roles in the team, right? Your org chart, right? And then and what job description, the job description for each role in there, right? Then after that, you can start writing all of the requirement, all the tickets, all the job, all the plans, all the tasks that you want the team to carry out.
Okay,
Agree on that?
sounds good. Yep.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what you is that we should do, right, Kan? I think for Scrum, we need to have multiple tickets, and then we can plan for the 2 weeks or 3 weeks spring, like you mentioned in the chat box.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. And Mehmet is the leader, and Mehmet will to prepare the backlog.
Yep.
He will prepare who needs to do this, needs to
What?
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. Agree. So with that saying, right, I think we clear, right, what we need to do. All
Yes.
right. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So from my end, I just have some updates, right? I've been deep dive into the market research to understand more about the industry, to see how how handsome, right? How handsome it is, the market. So we, whether this is a beneficial market that we can make money. And the more I dig into it, I see that we can see a lot of students around the world. It now it's like UK alone, it got like 20 million students, music student. China's got around 30 million music student, right? And I think if we structure our sentence, one sentence pitch, talking more about how our application can help students progress and get motivation when practicing or learning music, I think that would be better proposition. And I'm still trying to find data and numbers that to support my proposition. But I will keep you guys updated on the outcomes in the next couple of days, right? So that's that part from marketing, update. The other thing for about marketing, we got Chow, the marketing lady, the freelancers. She is preparing some kind of like interview questionnaires to understand about customer personas, right? And we she also waiting for our help on creating the usability design or testing, because she want to bring the app, or a prototype into the conversation with the potential customers, which is the teachers and the students. So she really need our help on provide her the prototype as well. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's update from my marketing team.
Yeah, on my side, I complete a new sound recognition with deep learning this last week, and this is
Yes.
very good result. As I can see. Uh,
Yeah.
do you
Great to
guys
hear.
watch video, Mermaid and Bing?
Yes.
How do you think? How do you think? Can you understand? Can you see the result in the video?
Um, let let me just check. I just want to make sure I did see the right thing.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's skip it. Skip it. And in next week, and my plan is start with the Android demo of the sound recognition demo. I
Hmm.
will bring the code into the model, the AI model into the Android device. And next step further is the recommendation system we need to use to help teacher have their recommend to their student faster. And that's
Yep.
my plan
Great.
to
Great to hear.
yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
On
Yeah, Mace.
one more thing is the app. I'm still waiting for the design to start to make the app and the web and the backend behind all of them. I have two plans. Plan one, we will hire someone to do the app and the web. The
Hmm.
plan two, we will hire a lot of freelancer to do that. The plan two is more feasible, and it's will a bit higher in term of cost, but it can do faster.
I see.
Yeah, that it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the final pity, I'd like you guys to think about, how we're funding the project as well. Currently, I know Khan is putting money in, We need to think about that. So when do you guys want to talk about putting money for the bootstrapping, in this phase? Because we really need to hire some people to help us out, right?
Hmm.
What's
Yeah, I
what?
mean,
Mm.
so some thoughts around that is, do we have any potential leads for any investors that could uh, invest at an early stage at all?
At the moment, right? So I think the moment, most of the time when the startup start in a very early stage, we will bootstrap from the founders' money. So I don't foresee any, kind of like angel investor at the moment for our team. Uh, but I did have some, sharing our, you know, uh, progress to some of the my connector with the investors, and we actually we put our name on the radar already, right? But to move it forward, I think we will have to bootstrap the business for a couple, like at least like by till the after quarter one, after 2 quarters, maybe in August or September, we can start aggressively go out and pitching to the investor. But at the moment, we don't pitch too much.
Hmm.
For example, this morning, right? Khanh introduced me to one of the kind of like a connector with some of the business investor, and he works for the Founder Institute, right? He's a director for Founder Institute in Vietnam, so he's got a very big networks. So he made a